All right, Chicago Xfinity. I'm doing my Xfinity intermediate track setup here, 16-1 plus 257. I don't know. You use the brake probably later in the race. You might even want the brake bias higher because the right rear is so slidey. But you probably want to keep it low just in case. What I'm trying to say is the settings aren't too important for this, especially for the hot lap. So I tried both like inside and outside lines and they're almost equal for me. So I'm just going to run both. We'll do outside first lap, inside second lap. This track is so slick. It's like you can't force that full throttle too early. So come down here. Roll off before the banking change, then we just roll this at 80, then we go full throttle when we think we can get the car to rotate, which we do. Very good. Good exit there. Probably could push that a little more even. Again, roll off before the banking switch. We just roll at that 50, let the car slide if it needs to, but it shouldn't. And full throttle as early as we can without sliding. Very good. Pretty comfortable. I think you can push that a little bit more. So now let's do bottom. This is going to be a lot more uncomfortable. Roll off, little arc. Just get to roll that bottom while it's going to get super loose. Try to force that throttle a little bit earlier. Very good. But see, all that time's about to come back. But you see how it just is pretty much even when all is said and done? A little bit of an arc. Let's roll into the bottom. Missed that bottom a little bit, but we're going to roll with it. Might even be okay here. But you see the time just comes back. And you know what? I probably lost about half a tenth of a second missing the bottom there in 3 and 4. So you can see how those lines are probably even. I think the top is easier. There's less modulation on the top, but we're gonna go over both laps. So here's the first lap. This is the fastest. So we get that runoff. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the runoff because it's just how we drive our 3 and 4 anyways. So you know what, let's just go to turn 1. So what I was talking about when we were going, look at my wheel angle and how I'm off the throttle before the banking. You see this kind of line where if I draw a line, everything behind it is banked for the corner and everything in front of it is the straightaway. You want to have your angle before that line. Very important when you run the wall because then you know that you're not going to be sliding up towards the wall as much. So I'm just riding that 50 to 60%. I back off to 40 as I turn, but once I make the corner, I'm up to 50 to 60. And then I just, if you step on it here, it's just going to spin the right rear. So you just be patient and then full throttle it as you can unload the wheel for exit. Push as early as you can do it. The earlier you can do it, obviously, the more speed. That's a practice thing. I don't want to give you guys an exact timing because I don't think it's going to be the same every time. Looks like I do it like halfway, 2/3 of the way through the billboards, though. That's about where I'm comfortable going full throttle. Probably could have done a little earlier. This looks a little bit too comfortable for a qual lap, if you know what I'm saying. But same idea for 3 and 4. So again, imaginary line, everything behind is the banking, everything in front is the straightaway. Down to 40 and turn before the banking. Once we make our line, up to 50 to 60. This one's going to slide up a little bit because turn 3 is a little bit of a more angled corner, but that's okay. We can be anywhere from this seam up to the wall, and it's more or less the same. You just don't want to force the car to go anywhere. So I'm just letting the car chill right by the wall, and then as it starts to turn back down with the weight shift, I go full throttle. It's a lot easier to exit 4 than it is to exit 2. So you don't have to wait on anything in turn 4. Once your car gets that weight shift, just go full throttle and you should make the corner exit. Okay, now we're going to talk about the inside line. Turn 1 was the good one. Again, I'm going to do the exact same timing as I was doing for the top, except I'm turning more down to the bottom. About 30 to 40, hold that throttle, let the car ease its way down to the white. Once we get down to the white, we raise our throttle up to about 60 to 70, kind of lock in that car at the bottom, and then you see the moment I touch 100, my car just snaps loose. If you're going to make time at the bottom in a qual lap, you're going to have to do that. So go ahead and do that. and just hold on for dear life. I don't know what else to tell you. You can see like the moment I start trying to raise my throttle is when everything starts getting loose. Then I just, at one point I'm just like, screw it, I'm going full throttle. If you want to spin out, go for it, but it should be fine. And you just let the car come out to the wall. You don't want to force it. 3 and 4. I mean, I didn't lose a ton of time missing the bottom because I kind of just started driving on the seam as if it was the bottom, which is kind of more or less the same idea. I think the amount of time loss is probably half a tenth missing the bottom, but it's not that bad because you do get a better run off the corner. But same idea though. Imaginary line, turn in, half throttle. Once it goes to where it goes, you can see that I even went more off the throttle trying to get it down to the white. When I realized it wasn't going to make it down to the white in time, I just put my amount of throttle back in it and just rode this new line as if it was the bottom. That's one of my biggest tips to people who are inconsistent, is if you miss your line, just pretend that you made it and then drive from there. Because the technique was exactly the same, even though I missed my line. I'll take a slight time loss over just trying to do something completely different and probably mess up with it. But anyways, let's do some long run laps. Usually how these go depends on the track temp, but I do like how bottom usually goes in these, but you gotta be really careful not to slide your tires. People will be all over the track trying to find grip and speed, but I think if this goes long, you're gonna want to be that guy who just kind of rolls the bottom for most of the race and then uses up their tires at the end. Now, the problem with being a bottom roller at the beginning of the race, though, is that it's very easy to get freight trained by people pushing the top. So if you're in a tight track position battle and you don't want to lose and you think that you're going to lose a lot more track position than you deserve, if you start rolling the bottom, feel free to just defend top. It shouldn't be too bad on your tires. You just can't get that sliding. So again, I'm just going to let go of my throttle more than usual. And I'm going to wait to go full throttle until I really know I can. Let's let it back up to the wall. And you see I lose like almost 2/10 to my best. See, I'm going to try to get the back low here. Yeah, so it's better. But this run is going to be pretty massive from the top. So you can see that if you full push the top, you're like 4/10 better on short run. So honestly, you wouldn't be crazy to just blast the top for the first couple laps of a run and try to see what you get out of it. I would not blame you one bit. But that stuff burns off fairly quickly, and it equalizes back to, at least equalizes, and then if you're the guy rolling the bottom and you're equalized with the guy pushing the top, you'll want to be that guy rolling the bottom. You can see how like patient I am. A lot of people are not very patient when it comes to rolling the bottom because they think they need to get all they can get. But keeping the car under you is the most important part, because if it doesn't grip up, it doesn't matter how early you get on the throttle. Just waiting for that car to just feel like it's stuck to that white line, like no matter what I do, it'll still be there. That was a very solid corner. Might have to do with the shade. Might have just gotten a lucky cloud that cooled the track a couple degrees down. It's definitely harder to make that bottom in 3 and 4. Don't think it's completely necessary, but it's definitely ideal. Okay, now let's try the top and see how it compares to what we were doing. Oop. Made it. So, we'll do an X corner. Forget that I did that. I mean, look at that. I mean, we made the middle work for, like, no reason. That top is definitely going to be faster, though. Slow down a little bit more, considering we're into turn 3. You always want to give more respect to turn 3 than to turn 1 if you're running the top. Yeah. So, I can definitely see people running top to gain time short run. I think if you run a semi-conservative top, like right, like here, I probably could have pushed that harder because I'm too far down now, obviously. But if you run a conservative top groove and try not to slide your tires too much, I think that might be the nice little Goldilocks zone of not letting the people up top pass you, but still being faster and gaining track position and keeping your track position from people trying to roll the bottom. Then everything spreads out like 7-8 laps later, and you can just roll the bottom. You can be by the wall if you want to. It's probably a little better, but it's not that much better, really. Just need to make sure that every time you're running this, you're getting that turn before the banking transitions. Because you don't really ever want to be sliding up the track. Okay, now let's roll the bottom again, see how much slower we are. It's gonna be like a 10th, I think. Maybe the top is just better. I mean, I still think it'll equalize, but man, I mean, that top didn't feel too bad. And like, I'm pretty pushing like this middle bottom and yeah. So, mess around with that top group. It's gonna be nice. I think it'll go away if you do it too much, but if you're just kind of chilling up there, it still seems like a good use of your tire. It's a good investment of your tire. And I don't think we've done anything to really kill any of our tires one way or the other. Yeah, 97, 96. I mean, that means we can run that top a little bit straighter. So yeah, maybe the top is just better. I still think the bottom, especially in the hotter track temperatures, are nice. Is nice to roll down there. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.